game show. Make sure you get yourself a pen and a paper so you can take down your score. Moving on to our first round, and it is Zoom. Not the Zoom like the one you're having all your classes on, but this round, an item will come on the board, super zoomed in, you won't see the whole picture, and you have to guess which Passover-related-ish item it is. Moving on to our first item, get that pen and paper ready, and it is, what is that? If you know it, say it out loud, it's 10 points, say it out loud if you know it, and of course, we'll move it back just a little bit, you can still get your points, and it is. If you said maror or horseradish, give yourself 10 points if you got it at the beginning. If you waited until I zoomed out, you get only 5 points. And moving on to our next one, and this is, now it's not matzah. If you said matzah, it's not correct. Try again for 10 points. Okay, for 5, we'll move out a little bit. Not matzah. And we'll show it to you, it is a matzah pillow. Many people use a pillow at the Seder when we lean, showing that we're free. They like to use a pillow to feel really comfy, like the old-fashioned princesses or princes. If you said a matzah pillow, you get 10 points, or 5 if you said it at the second round. And we're moving on to our next item, and it is a tough one. 10 points if you know it now. Say it out loud if you know it. Super hard. What is that? Okay, we'll zoom out a little for 5 points. And it is, of course, a carton of eggs! If you got it the first time, 10, later 5. Moving on to our next one, we have an egg on the Seder plate. If you said eggs, you get your points. And moving on to, for 10 points. You sure will get this one, but we'll zoom out a little for 5. And of course it is the 4 cups of wine. If you said wine or 4 cups of wine or grape juice, you get yourself the 10 or the 5 points. Moving on to our next item. Toughy. Is that? Okay, we'll zoom out for you here. I know that's a hard one. And of course it is a cement mixing truck. We eat the charoset on the Seder plate, which is a mix of fruit and nuts that looks similar to the cement that they used while building those big pyramids for Pharaoh. If you got that correct, you're amazing. Give yourself 10 or actually 20 points we got for that one. 20 points if you got it at the beginning. 10 points if you got it after I zoomed out that little bit. And moving on to our next item. And it's our final item of Zoom. Say it out loud if you know it. Okay, we'll zoom out a little for 5 points. Okay, and we're giving it to you here. If you know it, you have to say it out loud or else you have no chance now. Stop there. And it is, of course, a crown. When we act like the ultimate freedom, the ultimate opposite of slaves like we were in Egypt, at the Seder we act completely free like kings or princesses or princes. And when it's like a crown. That's what the crown is for. If you move on, if you got it right, give yourself 10 points. And we're moving on to our next round of Seder plate Boss. During this round, you should become the total boss of the Seder plate. We're going to quickly go through, if you know that your Seder plate items, you're about to be tested here. We're going to quickly go through those items to get you ready for this coming challenge. And of course, on our Seder plate, we've got 6 very specific things. Each one has tons of meaning, and that's why we're very specific what we put on that Seder plate. Many, many, many years of tradition, of lots of meaning in these 6 items. And let's see what they are. The first one is, of course, the zeroah, the shank bone or the bone on the Seder plate. The next one is the beitza or the egg on the Seder plate. Then right in the middle is the maror, those bitter herbs, the horseradish. And then of course, the charoset, that mix of fruits and nuts to make it look like the mortar that the Jewish people or the cement that we used in Egypt. And then finally on the far is the karpas. It's a vegetable people use parsley, onion, potato, and dipping in salt water during the Seder. And then finally, the chazeret. People use romaine lettuce for the chazeret. That's at the very bottom there. And now we will test your knowledge. Of course, before we do, we're going to get rid of that cheating back Seder plate there, so you won't have it. Now, for the first round, we're keeping it super simple. It's just 10 points here. We're going to have you close your eyes when I say go. Listen out for that interesting sound. When you hear it, you open your eyes and quickly tell me what is missing on the plate. At the beginning, we'll keep it quite simple. I'm taking away just one thing. So take in that plate, take it in, take in the 6 items. Focus carefully, And here we are. Close those eyes. Listen out for the sound. Open your eyes. What is missing on that Seder plate? Scream it out loud if you know it. And of course it is the charoset. It's that mix of fruits and nuts. If you said that, give yourself 10 points. Close those eyes for our next one. We're taking away something else. Close those eyes. Listen out for the sound. Eyes closed. All right. Open your eyes. What's missing? Call it out loud if you know it. Call it out loud. Say what it is. And of course it is the chazeret, that romaine lettuce, if you knew it. 10 points for you. Close those eyes. Our final chance. Listen out for the sound. What's missing? What is missing here? What was there? It was the shank bone or the zeroa, that bone. If you said bone or any type of bone, you give yourself 10 points for that. And we're moving on to, now it gets hard. If you thought that was hard, this is hard. Watch carefully. The way this game is going to work is, we'll show you the whole Seder plate. You can keep your eyes open for this one. I'm going to scramble the items, remove just one of them. Give you 10 seconds to figure out which item was removed. Keep your eyes open for this one. Get ready. This is 20 points. Call it out as soon as you know what it is, but you can only call out one thing. If you call out something, that's it. That's your turn. All right, here we go. And for the first one, it is 10 seconds. What's missing? Say it out loud. As soon as that buzzer goes off, no more chance to say it. What's missing? Okay, you can't say it anymore, and of course what was missing was the charoset, that mix again of the fruits and the nuts. It was missing on our Seder plate. If you said it, you get 20 points. We're moving on to our next one, again for 20 points. Watch carefully. 10 seconds. Say it out loud if you know it. You got 10 seconds. Call it out before the buzzer. Say it out loud. And of course, what was missing was the karpas. That we dip in the salt water. If you knew it, you get yourself your 20 points. If not, wait for our next one, and it is 10 seconds. What's missing? Tricky one here. Call it out before the buzzer. Buzzer! All right, what was it? You can't say it now, and of course it was the maror, those bitter herbs. If you said it, you get your 20 points. Moving on to our next one, and it is step it up. Now on this round, I'm going to actually show you the entire Seder plate, but I'm giving the items numbers. This is actually, according to many customs, the order which you set your Seder plate up in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to remove all the items of the Seder plate, and this will be for 30 points. I'm going to ask you, and give you 10 seconds to tell me which one it is. I'm going to ask you one of the items, you'll tell me where it goes. We're starting, of course, with, call it out as soon as you know it. Say that number, call out the number. I'll just give you a few seconds, actually, to tell me the answer. And we're going to start with the romaine lettuce. Okay, I think I gave that one away, so no one gets the 30 points for this one. We're moving on to the karpas. This celery, where does it go? Call it that number. Okay, hold it if you didn't say it right. Whatever, hold that number. And it's number 5. Moving on to the maror. Where is the maror? Where does it go? Call it the number. And it is number 3. That was only 20 points. Don't give yourself 30 points for that one. Now they're 20 points. Where is the shank bone go? That bone, where does it go? Number 1, of course, you get 20 points. And now for only 10 points, where is the charoset go? That mix of fruits and nuts. And of course, it is number 4. And for the egg, you don't get any points. And it's at number 2. This is our Seder plate, and you are the official Seder plate boss. Moving on to our final round of trivia. Here is some passive questions for you. Let's see if you get them right. The question will come up with 4 possible answers. You got to call out what the answer is before the answer comes up. And here we go. And the first question is worth just 10 points. Should be quite simple for you. And the question is, at the Seder, we drink 4 cups of what? Is it steaming hot cocoa? Is it Coke? Delicious. Kosher for Passover, of course. Is it olive oil? Or is it grape juice or wine? Which one of those 4 items is it? And of course the answer is, for 10 points, grape juice or wine. We drink 4 cups of grape juice or wine at the Seder. It's the special mitzvah. Moving on to our next question, it is, for 20 points, what do we do at the Seder while drinking the grape juice and eating the matzah? What do we do? And the answer is either we lean, or we sing Die, Die, Yenu, Whoo, or we close our eyes, or of course, we search secretly for the Afikomen. Say what it is before I pull it out, and the answer is, of course, that we lean. That's a 20-point question. If you got that right, give yourself 20 points. Moving on to our next question, it is a 20-point question as well. Why? Just why do we lean at the Seder? Do you know why? Here we go. The answer is either it's a sign of freedom as we lean, or it's good for digestion. Or as we lean on our fellow, it brings unity together. Or finally, Batya leaned over the Nile River to take baby Moshe out of the river. Say what it is if you know it, and the answer is, of course, for 20 points, it's a sign of freedom. We lean over like kings and queens during our Seder. Moving on to our next question, and it's a 30-point question. That means it's getting challenging here. And the question is, what is matzah called? Now, you didn't learn that today, but you may know that, or you may be able to guess. And the answers are, either it's called the bread of faith, it's called King Crunch, it is called the bread of the teeth, or it's called the bread of healing. Which one? Bread of faith, King Crunch, bread of the teeth, or bread of healing? And the answer is, say it out loud if you know it, 30 points, and it is both the bread of faith and the bread of healing, and it's a blessing for faith and for healing. Specialty lots of that shmura matzah on the night of the Seder. If you said either one of those, give yourself 30 points. If you said both together, we're giving you 60 points for this one. Moving on to our next one, and it is 20 points. During which season does Pesach always come around? Again, you didn't learn it today. You may be able to guess it, and here it goes. Either during fall, during the summer, during the spring, or it depends on the year, different seasons every year. Which one does it call it out? And the answer is always during the spring. It says clearly in the Torah, the Passover has to be during the spring. And that's all for today's game show. And here we go. How did you score? Count up that score of yours. You have some 5s in there too, 10s, 20s, 30s, put them together. It's not a math quiz now, but you gotta put your points together to get that right. We'll give you a moment to put that together there. Okay, you got your number there, and here we'll see where you ranked. And of course, if you got between a 30 and a 90, you're a beginner. You've got lots to learn. If you got between 100 and 230, that's a huge amount, you're intermediate. Those were very, very challenging questions and challenging challenges. If you got that, you're amazing. And of course, if you got between 240 and 360, you are a pro. Thank you for joining me today for the virtual Chabad Hebrew School game show.